Authorities continued their rescue and recovery missions in central Texas today as the death toll from last week's catastrophic flooding now surpasses 100 people. CBS News Texas reporter Bo Evans spoke to several survivors in Kerrville, including two sisters who were reunited with their family after their summer camp was evacuated.
This was our paradise, but now it's all gone. I mean, it's gone. It's just, there's nothing left.
Nothing left. The RV park Lorena Gian owns with her husband in Kerrville was wiped away in less than an hour.
Within 20 minutes after that water had come all the way up here, it was all the way over there where the patio is. I mean, that is a 500-year-old flood.
RVs are quite literally wrapped around trees. A kayak hangs 20 feet in the air. Cars buried under rocks and mud.
It was just incredible, the force of nature of that moment.
People swept away.
Just here with me, I have 6 people missing that we don't know their whereabouts, that family of 5, that I'm praying that somebody gonna rescue them down below.
Across town, hundreds of family members waited anxiously to be reunited with the girls from Camp Waldemar.
As reports came in that we saw the image of the Camp La Junta cabin floating downstream, and started hearing about a cabin at Camp Mystic that floated downstream. It became, it was an emotional day.
Rob Sell and his wife drove down from Fort Worth and were there when the buses arrived with their daughters.
There's a little hole that you could see through my window because I was on the top bunk, and I looked down and I saw water.
So when I slept, I heard like this loud thunder, and it was silent, but I knew I don't want to be worried, so I just thought that God was with me and that I can sleep the night.
Can you tell me what that first hug felt like when you got them back in your arms?
I had to wait a minute for them to hug their mom first. I'm kind of chopped liver, but ultimately when I did get the hugs, they were really sweet.
A really sweet moment on an incredibly hard day.
The only thing that is going through my mind right now is like, what now? How are we gonna move forward? I mean, who is gonna, help with this?
In Kerrville, Bo Evans, CBS News, Texas.
Now, FEMA has designated more than 2,600 properties in Kerr County, Texas, as a hazard area. That means owners there are required to have flood insurance. But data from the Insurance Information Institute, which is a national nonprofit research and education organization, finds only 2.5% of homeowners in that area actually have coverage. Insurance experts have expressed concern over this coverage gap across Texas as the state becomes more susceptible to severe flooding driven by climate change. Mark Friedlander joins us now. He's the Senior Director of Media Relations at the Insurance Information Institute. Mark, thanks for making time for us. This area in Central Texas, it has been hit the hardest by floods. It's known there as Flash Flood Alley. So why don't more people have flood insurance there? What is behind that gap?
Well, first, our thoughts go to all the victims and their families. This is a terrible tragedy. And unfortunately, when you don't have insurance coverage for the losses, it makes the situation worse. And this is very common in inland counties across the U.S. where we see a very low take-up rate of flood insurance. We saw this last year with Hurricane Helene, and it's repeating itself, unfortunately, with the tragedy in Texas, where very few people have flood coverage.
I'm seeing here the lack of flood insurance is the largest insurance gap in the United States. That is something that I'm sure so many homeowners will now keep in mind, given what has happened. Do you get the sense that flood insurance would be enough to cover the extensive damage in Texas that we're seeing?
This is the purpose of flood insurance. It covers these type of losses, and we constantly stress you need flood insurance no matter where you live in the U.S. because of floods everywhere. 90% of natural disasters in the country involve flooding. Flooding occurs in every county across the country. No area is immune. We know this area has a high risk of flooding compared to many other areas of the country. It has had severe floods historically over the last century or more. But most people think they are safe from floods. And it's very unfortunate when you face a tragedy like this, you don't have coverage.
How can those without insurance get the help they need at this point?
It's going to be very challenging. There's a lot happening in Washington right now regarding FEMA and recovery funds. There's no guarantee that FEMA will be able to provide funds for those that don't have insurance. And even if they do, FEMA is not a replacement for insurance. It's not an insurance policy. It might give some funding, emergency funds, to get you back on your feet after a major loss, but it's not an insurance policy. It will never give you enough funds to rebuild your home.
And Mark, we're also in the midst of hurricane season with the peak months yet to come. Could these floods have an impact on insurance coverage for hurricane season?
We don't expect it to be the case because primarily when you look at hurricane season, you look at wind coverage and flood coverage. And in terms of the losses, we haven't seen a lot of data yet on actual insured losses from this devastation in hill country. But most likely it's not going to be a major insurance loss event because unfortunately so few have coverage. So we don't expect it to have a long-term impact on insurance coverage for hurricane season.
All right, Mark Friedlander, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate your insight.
Thanks for having me.